All right, so for today's install, we are looking at bringing pressure. So, unlike this install, we've had Sims, which have brought pressure or made it look like we were bringing pressure, but we were really dropping guys. In this install today, we're going to look at what we can do on third and short, goal line, right? Situations where we want to bring pressure. So, the first thing we got to do is install our new front this week, which is Jet. Jet, or last week we had Deuce, and that's when our tackle and nose were both aligned on the guard. Jet tells both our tackle and nose that they are aligned on the outside shoulder of those guards, or more or less lined up close to that B gap responsibility. Mike and Will, you're both in your 30 tech alignments, so now you are stacked on these two receivers. Tackle and nose, if we are running base out of Jet, you are playing B gap. Mike and Will, you have the A gap responsibility. So here's that breakdown on jet rules for you to look at later. But now we're going to look at our pressure blitzes. So again, we are not dropping any defensive linemen when we run these pressure packages. We are looking at bringing as much pressure as we can in given situations. So with Jet, we have our A gaps currently uncovered, right? And we know that our Mike and Will have those. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with the alignment of these linebackers to give our offensive line across from us different looks to hopefully cause confusion. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do what's called mugging our linebackers. And mugging is going to be when we bring the Mike and Will up in towards these gaps. It doesn't mean that they're blitzing those gaps necessarily, but we're going to mug or bring them up to make the offense think that, okay, both these linebackers are in fact going to be blitzing. We have the jet front. So what we do out of this mug look is going to be bomber. So bomber is the key that we can make that tells the Mike and Will who's bringing pressure, who's dropping, and how we can work off this. One key rule to be aware of on all passing downs is that if we are in our jet or mug look, the defensive ends, because our linebackers are going to be blitz heavy, you are having what's called a peel alert. And what you're looking for is if a running back comes out of your side of the backfield, you now have that backfield. We're bringing pressure, trying to get that quarterback to get the ball out quickly. So usually that's going to be check downs to the backs out of the backfield. So if the back goes this way, left end, you'd be responsible for that running back again in mug or bomber. If the back goes this way, right defensive end, you are responsible for that number three running back in that situation. So our first one that we can run is our bomber read look. And how that works is our Mike and Will are both going to line up in mug or bomber looks. And once the ball is snapped, they're going to look and see, okay, who's the center going to block? He can only block one of our two interior linebackers. If he sets up on the Mike in this situation, the Mike is going to drop into pass, and then our Will has a run fit. Nose and tackle, you are looking to occupy or make contact on these guards to make them have to block you. Again, we want to give these linebackers a clean shot into the backfield or towards the quarterback. So again, bomber read, whichever center way the center blocks, that linebacker drops into pass. The other linebacker has a clean shot. If the center blocks the will, well, then Mike, you have the shot. And again, defensive ends, you're looking for anything coming out of the backfield, either from the three or in this case, a 2W or two weak in an I formation look. Bomber drop. That's when we are both going to align our linebackers up, but now they are both going to drop. When in doubt, defensive ends, I would still want you to keep your base rules out of the backfield, but this is one time where we could say, okay, we'd rather you just be a traditional pass rusher because here both our linebackers are going to be dropping. But again, when in doubt, play that responsibility where you have a back coming out of your side in a given situation. So bomber drop, both linebackers are dropping. Bomber coffee house or Starbucks, interchangeable terms. So basically, what we're doing is a bomber read look. So here the Mike is getting blocked, so he's going to drop. Will has a free shot. A lot of times, once this happens, this center will panic and try to recover over to this Will, or a back may step up here, and this Mike may just stay towards the right. So, what a bomber coffee house or Starbucks is that you want to get in line, right, to get a coffee. So, in this case, the Mike is going to drop, but then he's going to reinsert himself behind that blitzing linebacker to hopefully bring some extra pressure and get an alley in that run fit. So, again, that's bomber coffee house. The last one we have is bomber edge. So bomber edge is a call between our Sam and our Will linebackers. There are two edge linebackers, or the furthest out linebackers, in our standard base front or jet front look. So Sam, you're calling either an Eli Ego with your defensive end, and Will, you are calling an Eli Ego with your defensive end. One difference with this Jet series or Bomber series is that we are not going to be having any surf tech rules in this situation, simply because we have action coming from both sides. It's too hard to tell. So again, an edge tells the Sam that he's making an Eli Ego call with his defensive end, and Will, you're making an Eli Ego call with your defensive end. Because both of our defensive ends are part of a pressure package here, Mike, you have to have the number 3 coming out of the backfield. Our nose and tackle, if we call this edge look, you are automatically going to the A gaps to fill or occupy those gaps. Coverage, this hasn't been mentioned, but anytime we're coming with 6 guys in a pressure package, again, one, two, three, four, five, six, all of our pressure packages have been 6 in this case. That's going to trigger our man coverage or zebra. Reason why we call it zebra, I make a Z sign, right, uh, in the air, but also it's just like stripes on a zebra. Corners, you have number 1. Safeties, you have number 2s. Mikes, you have number 3. That's our zebra coverage. Depending on down at distance, the speed difference, we can play with our alignment, but just know that we're not necessarily playing, push rules, up and out rules. It's just no matter where that guy goes, you are staying on that receiver. We can do a push call if we know that they like to cross in those situations, but usually because we're bringing pressure, those receivers aren't going to have time to do much else other than really simple routes, quick routes. So again, anytime we're bringing this pressure, we are playing zebra, which again is man across the board. So here more in depth is our zebra look. Again, our safeties have number 2s. So in this situation, you are not necessarily having to play your hash or be 10 yards back. We want you up right into that defender, depending on again speed down a distance. We can play with your alignment, but you are square on the number 2 receivers. Corners, you are square on the number 1 receivers. Number 3 responsibility tends to fall on our linebackers. However, if we have a jet look, again, at that situation, it has a call for our defensive ends or a peel alert for you to take that back if he comes out of your side.